Hello and welcome. I'm Scott Dennis. Thanks so much for joining us. Our top story this noon hour, our nation mourns yet another mass shooting on a campus of a school. This one only a 3-hour drive from the Suncoast. 17 students and staff at Broward County High School killed yesterday, more than a dozen more injured. The suspect, 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz, will make his first appearance this afternoon. ABC's Stephanie Ramos joins us live from Parkland with the latest on the investigation. Stephanie?
Police are still at the high school where the alleged shooter killed 17 people and wounded 15 others yesterday. Students, parents, faculty, and many across the country are struggling to understand why the suspect would do something so horrific. After a long and painful afternoon at Florida's Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School, authorities are learning more about Nicholas Cruz, the expelled former student they say was armed for war when he attacked the school.
Because of issues that arose here, he was transferred to another school.
Police say the suspect was armed with an AR-15 style rifle. A fire alarm sounded which allowed students to be targeted out in the open. Some terrified students hid in classrooms, not knowing if they would survive.
We were just like praying and crying.
Police and SWAT teams swarming the school grounds.
Does he know where the shooter is? We don't know, but we're entering the building. Get your hands up.
These teens sharing how some teachers helped save their lives. One, Mr. Beagle, was at the front door of a classroom protecting them.
Because he was blocking the door, so the door was so open all the time. I don't know how we're alive.
At least 17 people lost their lives and more than a dozen are wounded. The victims, both students and teachers. After initially only offering tweets, President Trump today addressing the nation.
Yesterday, a school filled with innocent children and caring teachers became the scene of terrible violence, hatred, and evil.
Here in Parkland, the Sheriff's Department says all of the victims have now been identified and their parents notified. And as for the gunman, Nicholas Cruz, authorities say that he now faces 17 counts of premeditated murder. Stephanie Ramos, ABC News, Parkland, Florida. Back over to you.
All right, Stephanie, thank you. Governor Rick Scott is in Broward County. Late last night, he visited Broward North Hospital, where many of the survivors of the school shooting are being treated. Scott says the attack is, quote, just absolutely pure evil, and he offered his condolences to the victims' families.
They know they're getting good care, and what I told them is just, make sure they knew how to reach out to me. Whatever I could do to be helpful to them, I would.
Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi says the state will cover funeral expenses for the victims and provide counseling for survivors. School security on everyone's mind today as local law enforcement increase their presence at schools across the area. Sarasota County School Superintendent Todd Bowden says this tragedy is every school district's worst nightmare.
Your immediate thoughts go to the students, faculty, staff, the community surrounding Stoneman Douglas High School. Certainly, you immediately think of your own family and your own community when you hear the news that we heard.
Bowden says security in the Sarasota County School District is their top priority. Bowden says the district will take an even closer look at the school shooting in Broward and learn from what did not work there security-wise. And again, the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office has additional law enforcement at schools across the area after yesterday's shooting in Broward County. Parents may notice extra units in or around campuses when they pick up their children from school later today. And schools in Manatee County also have increased security today. Superintendent Dr. Diana Green says there will be an increased law enforcement presence around all schools for the rest of the week. All middle and high schools have school resource officers, and now those officers will also rotate at area elementary schools. Principals and staff are also asked to be on alert for any unusual activity on school campuses. In the nearly 19 years since the Columbine High School massacre in Colorado, a lot has changed as far as law enforcement response to these mass shootings. ABC 7's Ray Collins joins us now with details of how Sarasota police have evolved over the past 2 decades. Ray?
Scott, initial response protocol, first aid equipment, and training has indeed changed over the years. It used to be that officers waited for the SWAT team to arrive before they entered the scene of a mass shooting, but now to save time, they've been trained to make an immediate entry if need be. And police are also trained in a higher level of first aid as well.
Well, we're also training all our officers into combat casualty care, so where they can render immediate aid to anybody they encounter, so that we supply them now with combat tourniquets that they can apply to stop hemorrhaging and also to evacuate the wounded.
Sergeant Ball says police in Sarasota also train partners in hospitals and schools, as well as all their civilian employees in active shooter training. Scott?
All right, Ray, thank you. The State Blood Center and the Suncoast Blood Bank are in need of blood after responding to yesterday's mass shooting. The blood banks say the immediate needs following yesterday's shooting were met, but they are now running low on O-negative blood. They're asking eligible O-negative donors to visit a donor center or one of the big red buses and donate. For a full list of mobile donation locations and donor center hours here on the Suncoast, you can go to scbb.org. For the latest on this story, breaking news, you can plus up-to-the-minute first alert forecast. Go to our app. It's under WWSB or My Suncoast at your app store. Let's get a check on our weather now with meteorologist John Scalzi. John, we started the day with some fog around it.
A little bit of fog, indeed. We had in fact some dense fog advisories up for Hardee and DeSoto County today, and there was some patchy fog closer to the coast, but mostly it was confined to the spine of the state. And it was pretty widespread, too. That's what I was so impressed by. Not only just the spine of the state of Florida, but it wrapped up around the Gulf Coast, through the Florida Panhandle, into Alabama, into Louisiana, back down into Texas. In fact, the entire Gulf Coast had fog problems this morning. And one of the reasons for that is the reason that the low cloud cover that we also saw around on our Lakewood Ranch webcam has given way to sunshine and a few fair weather clouds because of a big ridge of high pressure that sits right over the state of Florida. That big ridge of high pressure kind of encouraging the formation of those morning low-level, thin thickness clouds that burn away pretty easily once you get a little bit of mixing going in. You know, we have some dry air aloft, and so that dry air aloft is really helping to mix away those clouds that form. And they certainly don't have enough depth to them to produce much in the way of rainfall, but sometimes they can lower the cloud bases to the point where they touch the ground, and at that point they become fog, and we had that around this morning in inland areas mostly. I think tomorrow morning we have another chance of seeing that occur. We certainly have, with the sunshine, a boost in temperatures. We've jumped up about 15 degrees over the last couple of hours just because of a little sunshine that we've had. Get up to about 82 for a daytime high today and then taper it off back into the 60s overnight. Then I think we might see that fog return tomorrow morning, Scott.
All right, John, thank you. New developments in a deadly hit-and-run investigation in Sarasota. Sarasota police say 36-year-old Gisela Steno was struck and killed by a car along Fruitville Road just before midnight back on January 27th. Police have now released video of the car officers believe was involved in the crash. The video was captured by traffic cameras. It shows a silver, gray, or blue car with a broken right side headlight and heavy right front end damage. Police say it's a 2004 to 2009 Mazda 3 sedan. Anyone with information on that vehicle should contact Sarasota Police. Today we continue our special report on the top 5 most dangerous intersections on the Suncoast. We've been counting down all week, and today ABC 7's Marla Spence is focusing on the second most dangerous intersection at 14th Street West and Cortez Road West in Manatee County.
The name fits. I mean, every day you see the amount of traffic here. There's fire trucks, ambulances, constantly. I sit here every day and count them as we go by.
Midas employee Scott Dreary works feet away from the intersection and isn't a stranger to accidents and traffic congestion.
This intersection is definitely dangerous. We've seen multiple car accidents here. It's pretty bad.
According to the Sarasota Manatee Metropolitan Planning Organization, or the MPO, more than 80,000 cars travel through this intersection daily. Because of this, there's a higher risk for severe accidents. According to recent data by the MPO, more than 100 cars were involved in crashes at this intersection within a 2-year span. Dreary says he'd like to see more steps being taken to make this intersection a lot more safer for Suncoast drivers.
I'd like to see traffic enforced at this corner a little more. people just fly by here, you know, they're not paying attention, and accidents happen, you know. People need to slow down at this intersection.
I don't think they can do a lot with it. I think it's about, they widen the lanes and the turn lanes, so I think it's about as best they're going to get.
Suncoast driver Harold Washburn tells us other people on the road aren't the only issue.
All us snowbirds are down here, and it gets very busy. And it's sometimes the arrows don't stay long enough to make your left turn, or when you're trying to turn off in Cortez onto 41.
All of these issues are concerning for local commuters. Just like the other top dangerous intersections, the MPO is doing research on the top danger zones to see what steps should be taken and if there's a solution to traffic congestion and the number of crashes. Friday morning, we'll be concluding our special report on the top 5 most dangerous intersections on the Suncoast. Find out what the #1 danger zone is starting at 5 a.m. I'm Marla Spence reporting in Manatee County for ABC7, your Suncoast News.
All right, Marla, thank you. Longboat Key Police plan to use a recent donation to enhance public safety. Ryan Flanzer donating more than $234,000 to the police department there. The money will be used to upgrade license plate recognition camera systems. The chief also plans to buy 25 laptops with the appropriate software for patrol cars. Still to come in your Suncoast News, why new research suggests showing a bit of compassion could lead to a lifetime of happiness, and why a teacher says she forced a student to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I'm Deshauna Barber. In 2016, I was proud to win the title of Miss USA. What makes me just as proud is my service in the U.S. military. In the service, a soldier gains skills and learns values like discipline and leadership. That makes them an asset to any business that hires them. If you're an employer, on behalf of Coalition to Salute America's Heroes, remember to hire smart and bet on a vet. Visit saluteheroes.org or call this number to learn more.
So Matt told me to meet him at 7 a.m. sharp right here. It is now 7:01 a.m. You think Matt would leave without me? Hey, is Matt here?
Long gone.
Long gone.
Just missed him.
Just missed him.
All done.
Mr. Sparky guarantees they're on time and the repair is free, so chop chop.
Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Matt, you started without me.
I finished without you too.
They're coming from Tampa, Fort Myers, even Orlando. They're coming from everywhere for the Sarasota Ford Promise. Our promise means a new car you'll love. If not, return it for one you do. At Sarasota Ford, we promise live market pricing. We monitor national pricing on our entire inventory, so you get the best deal. In fact, we guarantee it. Bring us any competitor's ad, and we'll beat it by at least $1,000. That's why they're coming from everywhere to Sarasota Ford, where 41 meets 301. SarasotaFord.com.
If you've never truly loved your car, you've clearly never owned a Subaru. Subaru is Kelley Blue Book's 2017 most trusted brand, best overall brand, and lowest 5-year cost to own. And Subaru Outback is an IIHS top safety pick for 10 years running. Now, lease the most fuel-efficient vehicle in its class, a new Subaru Outback for just $239 a month, or get 0% financing with 0 down during the Subaru True Love event. Get more for your money. Go to Sunset Subaru in Sarasota.
Download the all-new ABC7 First Alert Weather app now. Now your ABC7 First Alert Weather Forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
So we started off this morning with this low deck of clouds that kind of kept our temperatures pretty flat. Both inland and close to the coast, we kind of maintained a 65-degree temperature for hours. Then a little bit of sun broke through and the temperature started heating really rapidly. And just in the course of a couple of hours, we're up to 78 degrees in Sarasota. Temperatures across the region generally in the upper 70s now. 77 Arcadia, 76 Wauchula, Mayaca, 77 Parrish, Bradenton. Longboat a little bit cooler, coming in at 70 because, of course, of the cooler waters nearby. 75 in Venice, 74 in Inglewood. And the coastline will indeed stay a little bit cooler today as we develop a sea breeze. At this time of year, sea breeze is still pretty effective as the water temperatures are still pretty cool. 78 degrees, as I mentioned, at the airport, and of course a dew point value coming in at 65, slightly lower than 24 hours ago. We now have a westerly component to the wind, west-southwest at about 9. That will continue on through the day. And I think the sea breeze will probably push a little bit further inland than it did yesterday. I think temperatures across the region may be a degree cooler than yesterday, maybe. We'll go with about 82 and see what happens. That's a 3 o'clock temperature, and there'll be plenty of sunshine around. As we head into the evening, it should be a nice evening. Partly cloudy sky. Should be just enough cloudiness around to, again, reflect the colors of the setting sun, and we've had such beautiful sunsets. I think that trend will continue again today. 72 by about 7 o'clock. By midnight, we start to lower the temperature into the 60s, keep it there overnight, and bottom it out at about 63 by the time you wake up tomorrow morning. Could be some fog around tomorrow morning. Developing as we develop this kind of westerly flow, some of the fog could be pushed back closer to the coast, and the coastline could be more under the gun for fog tomorrow morning than it really was this morning when most of the activity was inland. Don't have a whole lot of action in the deep south today. Most of it's occurring in the Ohio Valley, stretching back into the heartland and then back into the mountainous west. We have a big ridge of high pressure sitting over us, and that high pressure ridge is going to sink southward. As it sinks southward, we're going to develop this more southwesterly wind flow, southeasterly to southwesterly wind flow, and that's going to, A, keep our coastline just a little bit cooler, and B, it's going to bring in that chance of a little bit of patchy fog close to the coast. Particularly, I think, as we head into Saturday morning, but even tomorrow morning, I think it's a possibility as well. So, warm weather continues, though. That's not in question. Patchy fog, low-hanging clouds, that'll be true, I think, right into the weekend. And then mostly sunny afternoon skies as the fog and clouds burn off pretty rapidly. Bullseye for severe weather threat today, again in the heartland stretching into parts of the Ohio Valley. But for us here locally, we're not going to see much in the way of any rain whatsoever. West wind comes in today at about 10. That brings you a light chop and 2-foot seas. Nice day out there on the waters. Today's tides, a 119 high, a low tide at 6:33, and the forecast calls for 82 today, 81 tomorrow, 81 Saturday. You get the picture. We're kind of in this warm weather trend that doesn't stop on Sunday. In fact, we start to warm even further so that by the beginning of next week, we could be into the mid-80s. Scott?
All right, John, thanks so much. In Health Smart today, want to be happy and successful? Who doesn't? Well, try compassion. Kim Hutcherson has more.
A study shows that if you're looking for ways to be happier and make deeper connections with the people in your life, try being a little more compassionate. Compassion is related to empathy and has been described as a feeling of loving kindness towards other people. An associate professor of psychology at the University of Miami says compassionate people tend to be more forgiving of others and have a stronger sense of life purpose. They are also more self-confident and more resilient. So how does one become more compassionate? Daily meditation is a great way to start and can have lasting benefits. Take about 15 to 20 minutes out of your day and find a quiet place to clear your mind. Focus on different people, those you are close to as well as those you aren't, and think positively about them. Exercises like this can strengthen your sense of compassion as well as broaden your attention and your overall sense of well-being. For today's Health Minute, I'm Kim Hutcherson.
All right, let's get over to the kitchen now. Chef Eddie from Apollonia Grill in Manatee County is with us today. Eddie, great to see you again. What's on your menu for today?
Good to see you, Scott. Today we'll be doing stuffed zucchini.
Sounds delicious. We'll be right back with you.
Today, everyone is looking for more fashionable choices in flooring than ever before. And G. Fried has responded with a huge selection of carpets, tile, wood, laminate, and vinyl. Installed by a highly skilled team, G. Fried has got everything you're looking for and more. The next time you think about quality flooring, think G. Fried Flooring America. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
Need more space in your place? The More Space Place can help. With Murphy beds that disappear to reveal a home office, living room, or den. Custom closets with designated areas for your shoes, bags, wardrobe, and accessories. Custom-built entertainment centers, garage storage systems, and more. The More Space Place has 3 showrooms next to Sonny's on US 41 South in Sarasota, on Lakewood Ranch Boulevard just south of State Route 64 in Bradenton, and on Tamiami Trail next to Panera Bread in Port Charlotte. Put more space in your place at the More Space Place.
Head over to Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Sarasota, where you'll always get better prices and a bigger selection. Like the area's largest selection of 7-passenger vehicles. Get KBB's 2017 Best Buy Award overall winner, the Chrysler Pacifica, for just $25,999. Or load up the family in your new Dodge Grand Caravan for just $20,999. Drive away in a new Dodge Journey for as little as $17,999. Better prices, bigger selection. Go to Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Sarasota.
Don't allow your weight to threaten your health or control your future. Excess weight or obesity can cause emotional and physical health risks. But you can take control. The Your Weight Matters campaign offers free resources and tips to help you measure and understand your weight. Take the Your Weight Matters Challenge. The free toolkit prepares you to speak with a healthcare provider about your weight. Your weight does matter. Take the challenge and take control today.
You know, fortunately, this was my first job out of college, so I was able to come back home and work in my hometown. I wore 2 hats. I was sports director and I was a news anchor. I did that for a few years and then decided to go full-time into news. Well, I love our team here at ABC7. We have a great mix, and it really is a great mix of personalities, of experience that meshes really well into a really strong team. I'm Scott Dennis, and I'm here for you.
Download the all-new ABC7 First Alert weather app now.
A California bus driver has been arrested for physically abusing a child and is now facing felony charges. Reporter Kathy Park has more on the troubling incident that was all caught on camera.
She is very forceful with the child. I would describe the video as being very disturbing. It was difficult to watch.
For privacy reasons, Vacaville police cannot share the footage, but gave details about that incident on a school bus last Tuesday between the driver, 64-year-old Kim Klopson, and a special needs second grader at Browns Valley Elementary.
The child was very terrified. Again, it was so difficult to watch. Was crying, was begging for the bus driver to stop.
The alleged physical assault happened when the young girl did not want to get off the bus.
I would describe her as talking very mean to the student.
And eventually the student was forcefully removed.
The child sustained some abrasions to her lower back and her rib cage area.
A school aide witnessed part of the interaction outside of the bus and reported it to staff, leading to an investigation with administrators, then police. The bus driver had a long history with the school district. She was employed for 18 years, and before last week, there were no complaints in her file.
Where have you seen her? Driving the bus when she pulls in every day from school, because I'm usually right here before I go into the house.
Amanda Medrano lives across the street from the school bus depot, where she's learned to recognize most of the drivers. As a mother, it upsets her to learn anyone working so closely with children would treat them this way.
There's no excuse for it.
This morning, police arrested Klopson on a felony child abuse charge.
No child should have to go through what that child endured.
Colorado middle school teacher accused of grabbing a student who refused to stand during the Pledge of Allegiance is now facing criminal charges. Karen Smith has been on administrative leave for 2 weeks after witnesses say she lifted a student by the jacket and then removed him from the room after he said he would not stand for the pledge. One parent says this kind of behavior goes beyond the pledge and needs to be addressed.
That's not cool. You should put your hands on a kid. It's a free country, right? You should do what you want. Stand or sit.
Smith is due in court February 28th. The school says it will not decide on any disciplinary action until the investigation is complete. All right, back to the kitchen now. John is with Chef Eddie from Apollonia Grill. John?
Always a pleasure, always having Chef Eddie in the kitchen, making up those tasty treats. Good to have you here, sir.
Thank you.
Of course, from Apollonia Grill over in near Lakewood Ranch. Tell us what you're cooking for us today.
All right, so today we'll be doing stuffed zucchini. So we picked out some local zucchinis, and zucchini is available in Florida all year round. So we're gonna.
So we mentioned, first of all, this is your mama's recipe,
It
right?
really is
so
my mom's recipe.
Don't mess it up.
Before I came to the studio today, I actually called her and I said, "Is this the right step?" So she confirmed.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, this pan got really nice and hot. So we got some onions, garlic, mushrooms, and tomatoes in there, and I'm going to add some more zucchinis in there.
Smells great already.
So we're trying to create a stuffing to stuff the zucchini. So this recipe is similar to stuffed eggplant, which is a little bit more traditional, but you can use any kind of veggies like any kind of squash or eggplant. And you did mention earlier, like little shoes, and that's what they're actually called.
Yeah, like the Greek dish little shoes, right?
That's right.
So this is kind of just a different take on that, right?
That's right. So
and are you using mint leaves in there?
I'm using some fresh basil.
Basil, okay.
Yep. So I'm gonna slice this up, and we're gonna. This recipe I have it with ground beef, but you can change this up to whatever you like. It could be ground turkey, it could be Italian sausage, or lamb for that matter. So. Or even just vegetarian. So I'm gonna add the ground beef to that. So you wanna cook this down, you wanna cook the veggies a little bit so they're nice and soft, and then you wanna add the meat. You wanna cook that down for about 4 to 5 minutes, and then we're gonna add some marinara to it. And then the fresh basil, and that should give us the stuffing for the zucchini.
What would you think about using like a fish with this dish? Like, if you could you put in like a shrimp or something like that?
You can. The only thing is that shrimp and fish cooks very fast. So this dish is made to go in the oven again. So you might overcook it a little bit, but you know what? That's not a bad idea. We should try it.
Yeah, give it a shot.
We're gonna add some marinara sauce to it. We make our own marinara at the restaurant.
I know you do, and it is good. Let me tell you. It smells so nice.
So I'm speeding up the process here because obviously we want to show our viewers.
But normally you'd let this cook down for what, 20 minutes, something like that? That much?
10 to 15 minutes. So I'm going to add the fresh basil to it so that we should have our stuffing. So while that's cooking down a little bit, we'll grab some of the zucchini, we'll wash them, we'll rinse them, and then you're going to slice them long ways, kind of like this. And then you want to make some grooves inside by using a spoon or like a melon baller. So that way we can take those apart and be able to create a little space there, a little groove, so we can put the stuffing inside.
So you're going to scoop out just a little bit?
Yeah, and you can use these, whatever pieces that you're going to take out from the zucchini, the seeds and stuff, you can use them and put them into our stuffing. So nothing's wasted, that's what I'm trying to say.
Gotcha. Waste not, want not, right?
Yeah, that's
Mama
right.
would be proud.
So you chop those down, and then you would just use them in your stuffing. So, there we go. And the zucchini could be any size. If they're larger, the seeds get a little bit bigger, so try to avoid some of those seeds because, you know, they're weird texture, but they're edible. They're just, you know, weird texture.
Do they have a bitter taste like some of the other seeded vegetables might have?
No.
They're fine?
They're good. So I'm going to chop this down, and I'm just going to add it to our, you could do this ahead of time, obviously.
About a minute to go.
Okay. So we're almost there. So I'm adding this to that. And our stuffing should look something like this once it's cooked. So the ground beef, the stuffing. And we're going to stuff the zucchini here on this casserole dish, and then we're going to put this in the oven.
Okay.
So we need to construct those. So just like that.
Do you use any cheese with this dish?
No, we do use feta cheese. So obviously this is a Greek recipe, so you got to have some feta somewhere in there.
Got about 30 seconds, so while you get that all prepared and ready to go, I'll let everybody know that the recipe for this is on our website, mysuncoast.com. If you click on the dining link page, it'll take you right there with all the video instructions from the chef himself. So I assume after you get this all done, boom, right into the oven, and through the miracle of TV,
that's right.
Out it comes. How long in the oven?
About 15 minutes.
Oh, that looks fantastic. 15 minutes at what temperature oven?
375 or 400 degrees, that both work.
Man,
So
serving it with little couscous, life could not be better. Chef Eddie from Apollonia Grill, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
That smells as good as it looks. We'll be right back.
For the last decade, S&S Motorsports of Sarasota has built custom high-performance vehicles for demanding clients worldwide. They're now bringing their 50-plus years of combined build expertise to the parts business. SRQ Performance Parts is your one-stop shop for all your performance parts and accessories.
If you've never truly loved your car, you've clearly never owned a Subaru. Subaru is Kelley Blue Book's 2017 most trusted brand, best overall brand, and lowest 5-year cost to own. And Subaru Impreza is an IIHS top safety pick for 11 years running. Lease the all-new 2018 Subaru Impreza for just $195 a month for 42 months with zero due at signing. That's right, not one penny. Get more for your money during the Subaru True Love event at Sunset Subaru in Sarasota.
Invest in Kids is a $7.5 million project to build a new Boys and Girls Club in South Manatee County. I'm Caleb Grimes, and I was a club kid. It's where I learned important life lessons, leadership, integrity, responsibility, and baseball. Thousands of kids attend the Boys and Girls Clubs, and after years of use, their club is slowly falling apart. Help us invest in kids. Make your donation today.
Thank you! The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Letting my friends online know I was quitting kept me on track.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
I kept on trying, learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
We did it. You can too.
For free help, visit cdc.gov/tips.
We're losing exotic animals on a daily basis, and the ones that we have in captivity are really the ambassadors for their wild counterparts. I'm Clayton Rozier from the Big Cat Habitat and Gulf Coast Sanctuary, housing over 150 exotic animals that needed a great home. And if you love animals, please help them. Do it locally. Support your local no-kill shelters, your local wild animal sanctuaries. Make a difference where you can.
Here's today's job of the day. ABC7 is seeking a director of newscasts and studio productions. Newscast directing experience required. Visit mysuncoast.com/job of the day to apply.
Coming up, the latest on a deadly school shooting rampage yesterday in Broward County. Plus, why one of the victims is being hailed a hero by survivors. And how President Trump, Florida senators, and other lawmakers are reacting to the incident. It's left the community looking for answers.
You're watching ABC 7 News at 12:30.
Our top story this half hour, we're learning new developments on that deadly high school shooting yesterday in Broward County. 17 people were killed, 5 others critically injured in that attack on Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland yesterday afternoon. Overnight, police searched the home of the suspected shooter, 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz. Police say Cruz was armed with an AR-15 assault rifle and was wearing a gas mask. After the shooting, he walked out with other students. He was later arrested and will appear in court later this afternoon. One of the victims in yesterday's shooting is being hailed as a hero. Assistant football coach and security guard Aaron Feis attended Stoneman Douglas High School and spent his entire career there. When gunfire rang out yesterday, officials say Feis threw himself in front of students to shield them from bullets. He was rushed to the hospital and into surgery, but later died from his injuries. In Washington, another fatal shooting has raised the issue of gun control, and lawmakers are now weighing in. ABC's Tara Palmieri is in the nation's capital with the latest.
President Trump addressing the nation from the White House.
We are committed to working with state and local leaders to help secure our schools and tackle the difficult issue of mental health.
President Trump offered his sympathy to the victims, but did not address the issue of gun violence. According to one gun control advocacy group, this is the 18th school shooting this year and among the top 5 deadliest. The debate in Washington has been split along party lines on whether gun control is the answer. Senator Marco Rubio, who represents those affected, said he's open to legislation, but did not specifically mention gun laws.
There's something out there that we can do, whether it's a law or a program or both. Of course we're going to be open to that, but it's got to work.
His Democratic counterpart from Florida had tougher words.
We keep saying enough is enough, but then it happens again.
Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut, the site of the Newtown school massacre, took to the Senate floor yesterday, saying it's up to Washington to act.
We are responsible for a level of mass atrocity that happens in this country with zero parallel anywhere else.
Attorney General Jeff Sessions said law enforcement must do more to prevent violence.
You and I know we cannot arrest everybody that somebody thinks is dangerous.
but I think we can and we must do better.
This weekend, President Trump will be at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Palm Beach, just 40 miles away from the high school in Parkland, Florida. Sources tell ABC News that he's considering visiting the site. Tara Palmieri, ABC News, Washington.
New details today out of Maryland, where 3 men are in custody after a separate shooting yesterday at the National Security Agency. 3 people, including an NSA police officer, were hurt. NSA officials say an unauthorized car with 3 men inside tried to drive onto their campus early Wednesday morning. The driver of the car and one other person were injured but are expected to be okay. The FBI says they believe this was an isolated incident and not terror-related. In a meeting with lawmakers, President Trump signaled he is open to a 25-cent fuel tax increase to help pay for his infrastructure proposal. The federal gas and diesel tax has not seen an increase since back in 1993. The plan could face opposition from Republicans, some of whom may be worried about increasing the middle class's tax burden so soon after cutting taxes. Steve Bannon is testifying before the House Intelligence Committee today. He first testified last month and refused to answer questions about his time at the White House and during the presidential transition. That led lawmakers to issue a subpoena to compel him to answer those questions. Bannon's second testimony has been delayed 3 times as the committee negotiated with his lawyers over what questions he would answer. And President Trump's former advisors, Paul Manafort and Rick Gates, attending a sealed hearing relating to the criminal case against them yesterday. During the largely procedural hearing, the judge said Gates asked for a 1-week extension since changes to his legal team are expected. Manafort and Gates face charges of money laundering and lying on federal records related to lobbying work and other business they managed. Both Gates and Manafort have pleaded not guilty. Let's get another check on our weather with meteorologist John Scalzi, and it's warming up yet again after the fog is burned off.
Do you have any fog at your place?
A little bit. I mean, it wasn't along the ground. It was like low clouds.
Right,
yeah.
right. Yeah, with a lot of low cloud around, that's for sure. It kind of led to a kind of a dreary start to the day. Yeah, it looked like England or something, in the winter. The good news is the clouds that roll in are really thin clouds. We did have a little bit of fog building over areas of the Gulf waters this morning, but I tell you, it lasted about 20 minutes. And then it all burned away pretty rapidly. Putting the Sarasota Bay webcam from the Van Wezel into motion, you can see how quickly it led to blue skies out there. And I think it should be a pretty nice afternoon. A lot of sunshine building. Fog was a problem this morning in inland areas, and there was a dense fog advisory along the spine of the state. But look at this computer model of what we think might happen with the fog tomorrow morning. And for some reason, it didn't work. But it would have showed you that the fog would build near the coastline first tomorrow morning, which is kind of a different thing than we saw this morning. We'll be watching for that tomorrow during drive time in the a.m. 82 degrees by 3 p.m. By 7 o'clock, 72 degrees. And then as we head into the overnight tonight, we'll bottom it out at about 66. Trying to get that computer animation up for you. And again here in just a second, Scott.
All right, John, thank you. Happening in Florida shortly before yesterday's mass shooting in Broward County, a Senate committee unanimously approved a bill that could dedicate more funding to schools for mental health services. This bill would create a special category for mental health in the annual funding formula for Florida schools. Under the bill, the school districts would develop mental health plans that would then be submitted for review prior to receiving any money from the state. Even if the Senate proposal approved Wednesday fails to pass, the $40 million proposal could still be enacted on an annual basis through the new state budget. An exception for the state's child marriage ban is being considered, which would allow high school couples to get married if the girl is pregnant. The State House approving a bill amending a Senate bill that denies anyone under 18 to get married in the state. Children aged 16 and 17 can marry now with the consent of both children's parents. Under this new bill, if a pregnancy is involved, there is no minimum age for marriage as long as a judge approves the marriage license. Illegal immigrants from other states are being warned not to travel to Florida. Immigration arrests have increased faster in Florida than in any other state nationwide. The warning comes after 17 Florida Sheriff's Departments partnered with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, including the Manatee County Sheriff's Office. The travel advisory warns people to be ready to encounter immigration agents at airports, seaports, and bus stations. Florida cities could soon lose the freedom to choose election days under a bill passed by the Florida House. Proponents say this measure would boost turnout in elections because cities would vote on the same day across the state. But those against the bill say local government should be able to decide what days are best for their own elections. A similar Senate bill has 2 more committee stops before being heard by the full Senate chamber. A new plan in Tallahassee would let pharmacists test and treat customers for the flu and strep throat. Some pharmacists are currently allowed to administer flu shots and other vaccines. However, they are not allowed to check if a person has the flu virus. Under the proposal, pharmacists could administer flu and strep throat tests and dispense appropriate medicine to address the illnesses. Supporters say it's better than waiting in a doctor's office. The House lawmaker sponsoring the plan is also a doctor.
What this bill tries to achieve is to take the walking wounded, the people who are otherwise healthy, who are ill, and would like to get seen straight away, and we allow them to go to a pharmacy, be tested, and if positive, be treated.
The measure is currently opposed by the Florida Medical Association, which represents a majority of physicians in the state. Bill supporters say doctors should not look at the legislation as creating competition, but rather as a more convenient way to help sick Floridians. Happening tonight, the Sarasota County Planning Board will look at the pros and cons of allowing another medical marijuana dispensary to open here on the Suncoast. The board will decide whether to recommend approval for a special exception for the company Trulieve. Trulieve wants to open a dispensary on Jacaranda Boulevard in Venice. Earlier this month, the board agreed to allow the Sarasota-based company AltMed Florida to open a dispensary on Fruitville Road. Trulieve currently operates a dispensary now in Bradenton. State lawmakers are trying to pass a measure that would allow Floridians to avoid changing their clocks twice a year. The bill will ask Congress to allow Florida to remain in daylight saving time all year round. So when the rest of the country sets their clocks back in the fall, Florida would not. Supporters of the bill say it would help tourism and give families more daylight time together after work. Big changes are coming to the Laurel-Nokomis area of Sarasota County. Several new businesses are opening up, including a Starbucks, an Aldi's grocery store, and a Dunkin' Donuts. Many in the community are happy with these changes because it means new jobs.
We've become the place to be, and you know that when you get a Starbucks, we have a bank on every corner.
Those new businesses are set to open within the next few months. A second county here on the Suncoast is asking you to download a life-saving app. The Sarasota County Fire Department unveiling the Pulse Point app this morning. This free app alerts people who are trained in CPR when someone suffers sudden cardiac arrest in a public place nearby. Public Safety Communications Center send alerts through the app at the same time they dispatch first responders. The app also lets users know where the closest defibrillator is located. This program is already ongoing in Manatee County. We're getting an update now on that Venice fishing pier, which may get a security upgrade. The City Council in Venice has recently received complaints about vandalism and other issues at the pier during the late night hours. The council decided to keep the pier open 24 hours a day, but they do plan to install surveillance cameras on the pier. Those cameras will cost around $110,000. City manager does not yet know when they'll be up and running. Still to come in your Suncoast News, why McDonald's is planning to stop making cheeseburgers an option as part of its popular Happy Meal.
Come experience the rugged capability and luxurious comfort of a new Ram truck and get big savings during Ram Truck Month at Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Sarasota. Shop the area's largest selection of new Ram trucks. Get the all-new redesigned 2018 Ram Quad Cab for as little as $25,999. Or save big and get $13,300 off a new Ram Crew Cab. Better prices, bigger selection. Go to Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Sarasota today.
I just had a very educational ride with Nina.
Did you learn anything?
Where do I begin? So all this stuff goes into a safety check.
Yep.
It's a long list.
It's important stuff.
Test the smoke detector.
Yep.
Check the breaker box.
Yep.
Meter the GFCIs.
Ground fault circuit interrupters.
Well, I do that.
Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Nina, you make it look easy.
Thanks, but don't do it yourself.
Who's your guy?
Thousands of award-winning Honda SUVs are on sale from $189 a month during the Honda President's Day sales event. You've got to see these SUVs. Get a surprisingly spacious 2018 HR-V, $189 a month, or step up to Pilot for $289 a month with available seating for 8. Plus, we have Motor Trend's SUV of the Year, the 2018 CR-V, and Ridgeline, a Car and Driver's 10 Best. All on sale for up to $38.05, less than the competition, at your local Honda dealer.
I actually started playing the game at 11 years old, so I started a little bit later than most players. But I was actually raised on Fighting Joe. The value here at Robert Trent Jones is unsurpassable. I mean, I have looked to other places. I've traveled all the way across the country. Everything is perfect as far as everything is the golf course, the rolling of the greens. Everything that I've encountered has just been absolutely incredible. And for the money that you spend, for the value that you actually get, it is unsurpassable. I'd recommend it for anybody.
Check out mysuncoast.com/dining, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. Now your ABC 7 First Alert weather forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
So we're looking at temperatures that have risen quite a bit over the course of the morning with just a little bit of daytime heating. We're up to 78 degrees in Sarasota. Started out at about 65 and was kind of there for several hours, so it didn't take much to start boosting our temperature, and that's true most everywhere across the region. 77 Mayaca, Northport, Venice at 76, Inglewood at 75. Currently 78 officially, as I said, with the dew point value coming in at 65. That's pretty close to exactly where we were yesterday. A little bit of fair weather cloudiness, a lot of sunshine. West-southwest wind develops now. That's going to help to limit just how much heating will produce warming temperatures near the coastline. So I don't think we'll get much above 81, 2 degrees near the coastline. Inland, though, the temperatures could certainly rise higher than that. They could get up into the 83, maybe 84 degree range as we head into the afternoon, away from that sea breeze, although that sea breeze will penetrate a little further inland. The fog conditions, now this is forecast. Currently, as you saw, there's about 10-mile visibility, but you'll notice tomorrow morning as we get into the early morning hours, the fog kind of moves in from the coast tomorrow, according to this computer model. So we'll be watching for that to see if we actually do get an onshore wind shift by the morning. We certainly will, I think, by mid-morning, start to see more of a southwesterly wind flow, but still a few questions in my mind as to whether or not we'll develop a southeasterly or a southwesterly wind by tomorrow morning, and that will have a large impact on what we might see in terms of fog development, I think. But we'll keep an eye on it. The potential does exist, though, that the fog could be a little thicker near the coast tomorrow morning. We'll watch for that. 82 by around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. By 7 p.m. we'll be at about 72 degrees. Then as we head into the evening hours, we'll drop down into the low 70s, into the upper 60s, and then bottom it out in the morning at around 63 degrees. Big ridge of high pressure across the deep south. That's providing us with our fair skies. A lot of our wind direction will be determined by the position of that high, which is going to be sinking southward over the course of the next 24 hours. Its center may be located a little bit further to the south, or it may be located over us. I think the winds will become fairly light and variable during the overnight as that high kind of repositions itself. And then if it's a little bit south, we'll certainly establish that southwesterly wind flow. If it's a little bit to the north, we'll have that southeasterly wind flow. So that's one of the questions in the forecast right now. Warm weather conditions, though, there's no question there. That continues. It'll be well above average temperatures. A little bit of patchy fog, some low clouds again tomorrow morning possibly, and then mostly sunny afternoon skies with daytime temperatures very warm. West wind this afternoon, turning a little northeasterly perhaps during the overnight, bringing you just a light chop with 2-foot seas. Nice boating conditions. Looking at 82 for today under mostly sunny skies, a little bit of patchy fog tomorrow morning perhaps. 81 the daytime high tomorrow. Maybe again on Saturday, patchy fog around, probably a little bit better chance of it on Saturday, as well as some low cloudiness to start the day, followed by again a daytime high of 81. Same thing on Sunday. Then we hit into the beginning of next work week, and I think we're going to even start to warm temperatures a little bit more, boosting them up to the mid-80s. Scott?
All right, John, thank you. In consumer news, say goodbye to McDonald's Cheeseburger Happy Meal. The fast food chain has vowed to make healthier options for our children. McDonald's to make some changes to improve its Happy Meal menu. It will offer more balanced meals and simplified ingredients. As part of its plan, cheeseburgers will only be available if requested by the customer. And bottled water will be added as a featured beverage choice. By June, Happy Meal combinations will be 600 calories or less, making them compliant with new nutrition criteria for added sugar and saturated fat. Ever run into a problem at work but you're worried about speaking out? Well, now there's a new app that could help. It's called Blind, and the app lets employees speak up about work issues while remaining anonymous. It requires users to sign up with their company email address, but posts are not linked back to the user. Tens of thousands of employees from tech companies like Apple, Amazon, and Google have signed up, and their complaints are being heard right now. Just last month, Lyft began investigating complaints after accusations of improper access to rider data were posted on that app. Well, we all want to make more money, but according to a survey, most of us won't ask for a raise. Mary Maloney, though, has some tips that you can use when talking to your boss.
When it's time to talk to a boss about money, many would rather sit in the dentist chair.
They're more confident getting the root canal than they were in negotiating salary.
According to a survey from staffing firm Robert Half, only 39% of people negotiated their starting salary, despite wanting to make more cash.
The ability and the desire to execute on negotiating a salary, which is complicated, it's tough. Versus, people want to, because everybody wants to be paid their fair wage.
The survey also notes more men than women will ask for more money, and millennials are bolder about talking to a new boss than any other generation. If you want to have that cash convo, whether you're about to start a new job or happy with the one that you're in, be prepared.
Whether that is, looking up the market salary for your position, whether it's speaking to other people in that company you're trying to get hired by and asking them for their experience, the bottom line is you have to do your preparation. Take emotion out of it. And this is probably, quite frankly, the hardest.
Experts say simply having the conversation could ultimately help your career.
In the course of your career, you're going to see higher wages really for a lifetime if you negotiate, properly and tactfully along the way.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Mary Maloney.
So to come in your Suncoast News, why experts say they believe they found a piece of George Washington's hair inside a book. We'll tell you about it coming up.
Motor Trend said the new Alfa Romeo Giulia is hands down the best sports sedan you can buy today. And named it the 2018 Motor Trend Car of the Year. Rediscover your passion for driving at Sunset Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
Sarasota Opera's 2018 Winter Opera Festival is here, featuring Puccini's Manon Lescaut, Bizet's Carmen, Bellini's Norma, and D'Albert's rarely heard Tieflant. For more information, go to sarasotaopera.org.
That is a pretty good breakfast. You're not even eating.
Not hungry.
No? Why not? What's up?
Kath and I knew that Jenny had been partying a bit. Found out she tried heroin.
Most people don't know what to say about drugs, but we do. Visit us at drugfree.org.
Every child follows a path in life. For many, that path will lead them to a door that gives them a place to grow, to learn, to belong, a place to forge their future. Because while many doors open, these doors transform. They did for us. Support your local Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason. Because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Enjoy some of the best Suncoast restaurants on me. Just go to mysuncoast.com/dining, sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already, and you can win a $50 gift card to a restaurant in our area. We'll pick a winner each week, so go on our website and sign up now.
When evaluating the Alfa Romeo Stelvio, Car and Driver magazine said every crossover should be this good to drive. We agree. Rediscover your passion for driving at Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
Finally this hour, historians in upstate New York say a lock of George Washington's hair was found tucked away inside a book. The discovery was made at Union College's Schaefer Library inside an almanac that was published back in 1793. College officials sent photos of the find to a manuscripts expert, and they believe the hair was given as a keepsake to Alexander Hamilton's son. Washington was a friend of the family, and locks of hair apparently were traditional gifts for that time period. The expert said even without a DNA test, they have no reason to doubt its authenticity. I'm just glad they didn't find his teeth. You know, that would have been a little different.
That would have been a little strange, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Wouldn't have fit.
Well, I like that idea, though. You know,
yeah.
Instead of the $1,000 necklaces, here's a lock of hair.
It'd be worth something. Maybe they didn't know it back then.
Yeah. Oh, I bet he did. I bet he did. A little bit of fog tomorrow morning, perhaps. The update on that forecast, of course, coming from Bob at 5 tonight.
Have a great day, everyone. See you again at 5.
My name is Stefan Campagna. We're Ben Gates and Dramus, and here is your law tip of the week. If you've been injured or arrested, I know this feels like the end of the road, but really it's the beginning of a long, potentially stressful process. So give us a call. Let us give you some peace of mind.
Alex Karras Lincoln's 40th anniversary sale. Drive a brand new 2018 Lincoln MKC for $279 per month or the Lincoln MKZ for $299 per month. We have a great selection of certified pre-owned Lincolns. These vehicles have warranties up to 100,000 miles and come with complimentary roadside assistance. Alex Karras Lincoln, where our mission statement is consistent commitment. Every client, every time. Located 2 miles north of the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport on US 41.